Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Well, Rachel Hennessy from Happy Days swapped the world of finance for fashion rental, and with pricing and sustainability considerations now to the fore of consumers' minds, the business is going from strength to strength. Rachel joins us now to discuss the growing demand for renting occasion wear and how she now lists A.B. Huberman as a customer. Rachel, we'll be discussing Happy Days, but this business is a world away from your first career.
Good morning, Carl. Thanks for having me. So I studied commerce in UCD and then went on to do the training program in KPMG. So worked for 5 years and then made the move over to the tech industry and did 2 years in Google in the fixed assets department. So yeah, as you say, a world away from what I'm doing now.
So where did the idea come from for Happy Days?
So during COVID and during lockdown, I kind of started to shop secondhand myself. So I started to kind of buy my clothes online on websites like Depop and following a lot of vintage kind of pages on Instagram, stuff like that. And I started to see like really, really nice, gorgeous designer label dresses on Depop, that had been worn once and that were for sale. And I was like, these could definitely, be able to be worn a few times and they could be rented out. Then I started looking into the idea. So I went over to London because the rental market is huge over there. So went over there, had a look at the kind of different pop-ups of the different companies that were in London, and then did a bit more market research here. So kind of reached out to people kind of within my age group and a little bit younger, a little bit older, to kind of see what they thought of the idea and kind of what would have been their barriers to rental so far. Because there is a couple of other rent companies in Ireland before I started, and just to kind of see like why had they heard of them? If they had, why hadn't they rented? Just to kind of get an idea of their kind of perception of the business. And what kind of came from all of that research was one thing that was the couple of things that were kind of missing was the biggest difference in size ranges, so having more options and more sizes, and then also having an actual shop to try on the items. So they were kind of two key pieces to the puzzle that I felt like we're missing and that we could definitely expand on.
And Rachel, were you surprised by that latter piece of research in relation to the fact that people wanted to go somewhere to try these dresses on?
I definitely think omnichannel is important. Like I do think online is so important, and it has increased a lot since we kind of have started. But I do think people are going back to actually wanting to meet people in person, go into an actual shop, try things on. Like most people that come into the shop will stay for the chat, we'll have a great conversation about like rental, fast fashion. Like a lot of people like actually want to try things on before they commit to the rental, because it is different. Like, you're not buying something from an online website and getting a free return and you get a free refund, you get a total refund. Rental's that little bit different, that if you're committing to a dress, you're committing that full cost and you might not receive the full amount back. So I think people kind of would be wary to commit without trying it on. And then maybe if they come in and try on a load of 10 dresses, then they don't have to come back to the shop, and they can just order online and afterwards.
So talk us through the Happy Days service offering and how the rental process actually works.
Yeah, so there's a couple of different options. So obviously you can come into the shop, try on a few outfits, and then pick your rental date, book it in store, and then you come and collect it the day before your event, and you drop it back. Say if you do a 3-day rental, you drop it back after the 3rd day. So we have 3 different tiers of pricing. So we have silver, gold, and platinum. So for example, a dress in the silver tier would be €6 for 3 days. In the gold tier, it would be 70, and in the platinum tier, it would be 80. And then you can also opt to get it delivered. So we deliver nationwide. DPD will deliver your item the day before your event, and then they'll come and collect it after the 3rd day. So you have that option, and then you don't even have to come into the store. You can just order online. And we have like a web chat on the website that if you need kind of any help with sizing or just any questions about the process or anything like that, you can get on to us there. So we're always like available to help, especially when it comes to sizing of certain dresses. You kind of like to know like what type of dresses will suit, a certain size and stuff like that.
So critical to the success of any dress rental business is access to brands and a range of sizes. So how did you secure access to these items?
We buy everything secondhand. So when I left Google, I sold all my shares and we invested that money in the stock and kind of the opening of the shop. So we kind of look to buy on websites such as Depop, eBay, Vestiaire. We're always scrolling those sites to see if there's anything that we think would do well as a rental. And then also, since we've opened the store, we've had a load of customers sell us dresses. So they could be something that they've literally worn once. It would be like something similar that we already stock in the shop, and they just mentioned to us that they might have something to sell. So what we do is we ask people to email in photos, and then if it's something we want to buy, we'll make them an offer. So that's working really well as well.
Now, the entire concept makes a lot of sense because, as you mentioned, a lot of these occasion wear dresses are worn once and then spend many years maybe hanging in a wardrobe.
Exactly, yeah. Like, everyone's bodies change all the time. So something that even fit you a few months ago might not fit again. And then we actually have loads of like mums come in who've just had a baby, or mums to be, someone who's pregnant that might not want to particularly buy a maternity dress and might just want something in a different size. And they find it a great service because it means they're not spending a bomb on something and they still get a really, really nice dress. So, I think it's a no-brainer, really.
And in terms of demand, have sustainability considerations combined with rising prices create an increase in demand for rentals?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think people are way more conscious now of their shopping habits. I think, I, myself included, everyone went a bit mad during the pandemic and you were kind of getting stuff delivered every few days almost. And I think people kind of started to realise then that there's a lot of stuff in their wardrobe that they're not wearing. So they definitely, like myself included, took a look at that and decided to kind of stop that mad shopping. And a lot of people would mention that to us in the shop. And then also there's obviously huge supply chain issues at the moment. So there's actually not as much out there as probably there normally would be even at this time of the year. Like, a lot of people are coming in saying there's nothing in the shop, can't find anything to wear. So I think with all of that combined, I just think, why wouldn't you rent?
Happy Days has been a big hit with celebs, and you're including Amy Huberman and Rosanna Davison as clients.
Yeah, it's been great. They reached out to us to get different dresses for different occasions, which was so exciting. And it's great to see, people supporting small local businesses, especially a startup, because it really makes the biggest difference to a business like ours.
And of course, with the rise in e-commerce, I do think it's causing lots of complications for courier companies. How are you finding getting reliable couriers to deliver nationwide?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. Once the dress goes out of your hands and you put it into the hands of a different company, it's hard to. For me, it's like losing an arm. You're just trusting this person that the dress will get delivered on time. And obviously, for each customer, it's for an important event. Like, they're going to something like a wedding, a christening, a hen party, and you want that dress to be there. So obviously, it doesn't always go right, but we try. And if a dress hasn't got delivered on time, we try our very best to get another dress to that customer if it has failed with the delivery company.
And of course, companies like Klarna and Apple and Buy Now, Pay Later are really getting lots of traction in Ireland. Is that something that you've looked at, or is it something that Klarna or companies like them would be interested in working with you on?
We haven't looked into it ourselves. I think that they do use it in the UK with some of the rental companies there. So I think it's definitely something to look into. We're renting out dresses for a fraction of what their retail price would be. So, Klarna might be useful for if you were going to pay the full cost of what that price was, whereas you're obviously paying a fraction already by renting it. So something I definitely would look into, but we haven't looked into yet. You
have a premises in Leopardstown in Dublin. What are your plans to open further premises across the country?
Yeah, that would be the goal, I think, in the next few years, is to be able to open in a few other cities in Ireland. We definitely have some very loyal customers in places like Cork and Galway. So it'd be great to be able to even do a pop-up or something in a place in those cities to be able to, give back to the customers the chance to try the dresses on the same as all the customers in Dublin. So that's definitely something that's on the cards, I think.
And as you mentioned, the Google shares were the way in which you funded the business starting out. It's a capital intensive business in that you have to buy the dresses in before you can rent them. So in that respect, what are your plans to fund the business as it grows across the country?
It's definitely a point of concern for us. It's hard to get access to funding as a small startup, and especially in a business like ours where, you know, we need the funding to stock new items in the shop. So there's a few options that we're looking into at the moment to try get funding to expand our range.
Is there any issue in relation to getting garments back that are damaged?
So we've had a couple of items damaged, but most of the time they're definitely able to repair. And in that case, we just ask the customer to pay for the repair. And that's all laid out in our terms and conditions on the website. And then if an item is damaged beyond repair, which there's just been a couple of instances of, which in the kind of amount of orders that we have is not the biggest deal, we just ask that the customer pays the price of the dress.
And Rachel, as we look over the next 3 to 5 years, what are your goals for the business?
Oh, definitely to be the number one fashion rental business in Ireland. We really want to be the go-to and to have the most wide range of sizes, styles, so that anyone, no matter their size, age, style, whatever they like to wear, will be able to come in and find something in our shop.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Rachel Hennessy from Happy Days, and I've no doubt that this business will continue on its growth trajectory.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
South